Hello guys, welcome to Network Beats. This is Tangadurai, and today we are going to see about a new topic about iBGP configuration. In last video, we have seen about the AS35 and AS400, and we have seen that how to configure iBGP in AS35, where R3 and R5 are directly connected to each other. So it is simple. Okay. Um, but in this video, we are just going to see what if routers are not directly connected, and if you want to make those router as your BGP neighbor, is it possible? Yes, it is possible with the BGP. It is not like EIGRP or OSPF or ISIS where the neighbor router should be directly connected to each other, right? In BGP, it is not that rule that they should be connected to each other. We'll just come to know how does it work here. If you see, there is a AS500. We have a topology where AS500 is connected to AS400 as well as AS35. R2 and R6 are our edge router of AS500. So the question is like, do we need to enable BGP on all the routers so that R6 can communicate with R4 as eBGP and R2 can communicate to R5 as eBGP to exchange the routing updates? So is that necessary? No, it is not necessary. Here my objective is R2 should run BGP and R6 should run BGP, but R1 and R7 they need not to run the BGP. Okay, remember BGP is the only one eBGP protocol that we have. Sorry, BGP is the only one EGP protocol that we have currently, and BGP is highly memory hunger. So you need to make sure your router is a high spec of RAM handling the memories, and also you should know on which router that you are enabling BGP, and you should know the purpose, whether it serves the purpose, then it is good. Otherwise, don't enable BGP on all the routers because it will take your hardware resources at the higher rate. So let's get it started. So here I have already configured the IP addresses in R1, R2, R7 and R6. So let's get jump in with the BGP configuration. So here what I have to do first is like hope you guys remember from the last video, BGP uses transport protocol TCP, right? So here, in order to make R2 and R6 as a iBGP neighbor, first I should provide a reachability, right? So R2 should know how to reach router 6 loopback IP address, and router 6 should know how to reach router 2 loopback IP address. Here, router 2 has show IP interface brief. So here you can see I have configured the loopback 2.2.2.2, and let's go to R6. Here I can see the loopback 000, which is 6.6.6.6. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to enable the EIGRP on all these routers which are facing inside the AS500. So what I can do in router 6, okay, configure terminal router EIGRP 100. Let me enable the EIGRP 100. The objective is you have to provide the reachability for R2 to reach R6 loopback IP address, and the R6 should know how to reach routers to loopback IP address. Let's check that currently whether they are able to ping or not. So do ping 2.2.2.2, right? It will not be pinging. Why? Because there is no routing protocol in place, not even a static. Let me just show you that do show IP route. I do not have the route for 2.2.2.2 from router 6. Only I can see the directly connected and the locally present IPs in the routing table. Show IP route and from R2 I do not see any 6.6.6 where I'm trying to peer with BGP peer with. So only here also I see only directly connected and locally present IP addresses on the subnet with associated with the R2. Fine. So let's start with our EAGRP configuration just to enable the reachability between R2 and R6 loopback IP address. So here router EIGRP 100. Okay, let me advertise a 0.0.0.0 so that it will be advertised on all the interfaces which are currently up and up. That means what does it mean? What this command do? When you give show IP interface brief and you see the status in the protocol is up and up, then this is the valid subnet that to work with, right? So this subnet will be advertising on this particular interface so that on the other end, if there is a neighbor under the same subnet, then these routers can exchange the EIGRP hello packets and they can form the neighborship, right? If everything like if there is a authentication is enabled, if the passwords are good. So yeah, it is currently out of our track now since we are looking into the BGP. Let's not get into EHRP. So fine. So this network 0.0.0.0 is just enable the EHRP protocol on all these interfaces, right? Uh, let's hit enter. But remember, I don't want to enable EIGRP on this interface, which is heading towards AS400. So what I'll do, passive interface fast Ethernet 0/0 on router 6 would block any EIGRP messages sending out on this particular interface fast Ethernet 0/0. So no auto summary. Okay, I'm good with this config. The same, I'll do it on router 1, router 7 and router 2. So in router 1, config terminal, router EIGRP 100, autonomous system should be same on all these routers so that we can see the EIGRP neighbor is getting built. So here, no to summary, then I'm trying to advertise network 0.0.0.0. That's it. And here I don't have any interfaces going outside this particular autonomous system number. And you can see there is a neighbor came up for 16006. That is great. And let's get with router 7. And here in router 7, router EIGRP 100. No to summary. And I'm just trying to advertise everything and exit. Now we can see the neighborship came up with router 6, right? Great. Let's get with R2. In R2, you have to type router EHRP 100, no to summary, network 0.0.0.0, and then I have an interface which is going towards AS35 where I don't want to send any EHRP messages. So I'll just keep passive interface for fast Ethernet 0/0 so that I won't so this router won't be sending any HRP updates or messages over that interface. So we are done with the IGP protocol for AS500, for BGP AS500, for EIGRP AS100, right? So let's verify now. Show IP route 6.6.6 from router 2. Sorry, show IP route 6.6.6.6. Now I know how to reach 6.6.6 via EIGRP 100 protocol, right? I have two different paths to use either through gigabit 3/0 or either through gigabit Ethernet 2/. So here, what I can do here is just I can try pinging 6.6.6.6 and remember when you issue ping 6.6.6, I'm sorry about that. Okay, when I issue ping 6.6.6, okay, you will be seeing the source IP address as the exit interface IP address. What is exit interface? So that means R2 can reach router 6 loopback IP address either through gigabit 2 slash 0 or gigabit 3 slash 0. In my case here, gigabit 3 slash 0 is the best one. So that will be saying the source IP address is 27007, right? So show IP route. Uh, Basically, it has both the routes, right? So it will be equal cost load balancing since you can see the metrics and the AD are same. So it is so simple. If you do trace.6.6.6, see your packets are going from both the paths, right? It is choosing 12 network as well as the 27 subnet. That means it is just load balancing on both the path. Okay. So in this case, I just want to send the ping packet. That means the ICMP packets with the specific source of address just to check whether I am able to reach ping 6.6.6 from sorry from the source 2.2.2.2, right? If you give this, now your exit your source address would be at 2.2.2.2, right? It would not be your exit interface IP address. So that is what here it is. Now we got the reachability. So let's start with a BGP config. So what I'm going to do here is router BGP 500, right? Neighbor is here. My neighbor is 6.6.6.6. Remote AS is also the same, which is 500, right? And also I need to say that neighbor 6.6.6.6 and I need to tell that update source loopback. You need to use your loopback 0 as your source when you're trying to initiate your BGP process with the neighbor 6.6.6. Okay, so that our router 6 will understand these messages or authorized one, because that is what we are going to go and configure from the router 6. So in router 6, router BGP, same here 500. Here our neighbor is 2.2.2.2, right? And he's from remote AS 500. And same here, update source loopback 0. So once you're done with this, you can see your BGP is getting neighborship is up, right? So this is the beauty of the BGP. You do not want your routers to be directly connected each other in order to build the neighborship. Okay. R2 and R6 are considered as a edge router from this topology since R2 and R6 are connecting to two different AS from AS500, right? R2 is connecting to AS35 and R6 is connecting to router 4, which is from AS400. So that is why I'm calling R2 and R6 as the edge routers, and I have enabled only BGP on these edge routers, not on router 1 and router 7. If you go and see in router 1 and router 7, show IP BGP summary. First of all, you do not have any BGP protocol active on this router. Okay, same applies for router 7. Show IP BGP summary. Still, you do not see any BGP protocol up on router 7 as well. But if you go to router 2, show IP BGP summary, now you will be seeing there is a neighbor 6.6.6 who is running BGP version 4, who is from AS number 500, and this should be the uptimer. Why? Because I see some number in this particular column, right? So this we have discussed so many times in our previous video. If we see any number under this state or prefix received column, then this timer is a up timer. If you do not see any number on this column, like instead of number, if you see idle, active, connect, whatever it is, apart from the number, then this timer is called as a down timer. Okay, so that means the neighborship process is not yet established with this particular neighbor. Okay, so this is what the beauty of BGP. Uh, this is about the IBGP configuration. We'll be talking more about the eBGP in our next video. So stay tuned, guys. Stay safe. Bye now.